Action!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Auto Belt Podcast. I am Patrick, and you all know my co-host, Vince Chili.
What's happening, y'all? Good to see y'all today.
And, of course, we have our wonderful producer, Jer Bear.
What's up, everybody?
Oh, what a way to start the show. You're the producer,
live.
you say.
I know, right?
That threw me off. Vince, what you got?
I'm a little off, too. Wow.
I gotta keep y'all on your toes.
Keep us on your toes. We're not the one that...
I know. I'm the one that messed up.
Anyways. Well, at least y'all know it's real. It's live. We are not making this up.
It is not Memorex.
It is not Memorex. Now, for those of us that don't know, what is Memorex?
Memorex was a recording medium used in the late 20th century. Yep, somebody's got audio playing.
There we go.
Wow. We're going to get it together. Can we start over? Can we rewind the clock to 6 o'clock and start over again?
We can. And action.
There we go.
Anyways, Memorex.
Memorex, yes, a recording medium that predated today's memory chips used for recording audio. Memorex was a brand of tape.
Now, is this like reel to reel, or are you talking like cassette tape?
Talking cassette tape, but if you're asking me what Memorex is, chances are you don't know what reel to reel or cassette tapes are.
That's a really good point.
So
high-speed dubbing, make anybody excited?
Yeah, high-speed dubbing. Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Woohoo.
So cool we got that.
Man, that was awesome.
Well, it has been a week. It's been so much fun the past few days. The weather in Ohio has been freaking spectacular.
Amazing.
Gorgeous.
I mean,
Yeah.
just hot days, cool nights. I think there's a Havana theme something there.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, there's a
somewhere
movie.
there.
I don't know.
Lots of Cuba Libres.
Cuba Libre. Yes. Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds nice. But yeah, so I spent most of my afternoon out on the back porch soaking in the sun, which of course now has me looking a little red.
It'll come in later on a little more tan, like in a few days.
Will it, though?
No, it won't.
No, not for me.
Not for him.
No. This
No.
Irish blood running through here.
Yeah.
We know two skin tones, pale and burnt. That's all we know.
It'll stay nice and bright red for you.
Sounds good. I want to take a second and welcome everybody to the show. All of our Hyfield family, all of our supporters who have gone out and watched our podcast or listened to our podcast on the road or watched our YouTube channels back in your sleeper, just hanging out with us. It has been a really cool ride so far. We're doing these lives once a month, so we're now 2 months in,
Yeah.
and we're seeing about 200 videos. 200 views per video ish, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's been a really great turnout.
I'm excited about it too. It's it's been a lot of fun getting together with you guys and doing these recordings, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. Certainly, hopefully, people are enjoying watching the show as well.
Yes, I hope so. Sorry, we got a little editing notes I'm having to talk to. Ryan Johnson, it has been pretty nice. How's everybody in the chat? We have people on a few different mediums. I've got my YouTube pulled up right now, but I know we've got some people watching on, is it Facebook we're on? And
Yep. It's the Hyfield Facebook group as well as the Outer Belt Podcast Facebook group.
very cool.
Are we doing anything on Instagram this time?
I am not.
Okay.
I mean, we can in the future, but I haven't. I can do it.
I did get the internet upgraded, so that is an option now.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we may do that
Nice.
next time.
Very cool. Jerry looks so far away. Jerry likes being far away.
Jerry
do.
would rather not be on camera.
It was a point of conversation.
It was.
But-
When we did this whole new setup,
Oh, yeah.
it was a point of conversation that Jerry not be on camera.
Yes. And we said no.
Yeah, he was vetoed.
And what did they do? They put me right in the center.
Right in the center. Right in the center.
Well, I want to welcome over on Facebook on the Hyfield side, we have Billy Wertzinger in the house. We also have on the Outer Belt side, Janet Ingram's watching. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? I see, of course, Ryan Johnson is there. Tino, how are y'all doing? And then Luke Shire Expediting is in the house. So is... You're here?
I'm here. I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I snuck in last minute.
Well, I see we got a few more people watching that aren't typing, aren't chatting. Feel free to chime in, say hi. Hey, there's Jamie Brookhouse.
And Dizzle's here, too. Don't forget Dizzle.
Hi, Dizzle. And Maddie B. Good evening. How are y'all doing?
Everyone, if you would, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us out.
Does it?
It does.
Hold on 1 second. Boom. I didn't even do that. So hysterical.
Done.
Was that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We got to lead by example. If we do it, then maybe they'll do it too.
Yes.
So, got to lead by example.
Hey, what's up, Matt and Sandy? How are y'all doing
Matt
this
and Sandy.
evening? How's the weather where everybody's at? It's beautiful here, but I see we got some storms kind of creeping across the country right now.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be housework day because it's going to be thunderstorming and rainy and chilly. Not as chilly as it's going to be on Monday when we get back down into the 40s.
Yeah, I'm not looking
That's
forward to that.
some craziness.
Yes,
80,
it is.
80 degrees today, 45 on Monday. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, the pretty weather can't last. It really can't. I'm not looking forward to it. I know tomorrow, 91% chance of thunderstorms,
yeah.
and I'll be running down to where am I going?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yeah, Jackson, Mississippi. I got to
You
make
taking You got a Nissan load down there?
I'm taking a Nissan load down there for Panther. It's a solo run. I'm gonna get the van,
Sprinter
cargo
van fired
vans
up.
turned up
Yeah.
to 85,
There
so
you
I can
go.
make it quick. No, I've got I am taking the Sprinter van down there, but
You
it's
are.
not a Panther Sprinter van. And 806 miles. I got to get down there, sleep in a hotel for 10 hours, pick up a generator, and come right back.
Boogie on back.
Yeah.
You have an
Very-
appointment Tuesday morning,
I
right?
do have an appointment Tuesday morning. It's going to be brutal,
Yes,
but
it is.
that's it's what
The
we
things
do.
we do.
The things
know?
we do.
The things we do.
Yes.
So, good deal.
All right.
No weather talk in the chat yet.
No, I don't see that. Maybe I
Maybe
might.
they all just turned us off.
I would.
Well, speaking of weather, yesterday we were speaking to Don's family. I believe it was yesterday. And it was like 80 here, and they're in upper Michigan, almost to the UP. And it was like 90, 91 up there.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. I think Canada built a wall so they can't get the warm weather up there, so it just all reflects back to the United States.
I
They
can
want
see-
to keep it cold.
That's what all those big fans are all across the Midwest. When you drive down the road, they got all those white big fans that are
Yeah.
100-foot in diameter.
Exactly.
They're just
It's
blowing the
cooling
cold air.
everything off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
hysterical. Matt says, nice new setup. Jerry looks happy between the signs. Aw.
Thank you,
He's
Matt.
not. It's all an illusion.
It
But
is.
no. You're enjoying your time here, right?
I do. Of course I do. I am so happy. Like, what more could a guy ask for? This is right up my alley. This is something that I enjoy doing, the editing, the media side of things, and I'm with Hyfield Trucking. What more could I ask for?
I can't think of anything.
I can't either.
Oh, you know what you could ask for?
A raise? No.
Just so you guys know, we're now looking for a new producer for this show.
Yes.
So if you're interested,
Send your resumes to theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
That is a negative. Do not do that.
unfortunately, Jerry monitors that, so they go straight into the trash.
Oh, that's funny. But one thing you are looking for is talent.
Yes. So over here at Hyfield Trucking, we have two kind of opportunities if you're interested. One of those being a YouTube channel. If you are interested in starting your own YouTube channel, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to give you any type of hints and cameras and all that good stuff, and kind of help get you going there. And, if you especially drive for Hyfield, we would love for any of you out there to maybe start up your own channel and talk about us a little bit. The second thing along those same lines is a YouTube channel where you may not want to do any editing or have time to edit or something like that, or just don't feel comfortable doing that. Reach out to me because I would love to talk to you about maybe you doing the content, sending me all the stuff. I will edit it up, let you approve it, and then put it out on our Hyfield YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And, we're doing this for a couple reasons. One is we want more people to hear about the things we're doing here at Hyfield, and it's just another way to let people see from the driver's perspective, what's it like out here? What's it like on the road? What's it like working with FedEx or Panther? What's it like being an independent contractor, running the nation, that kind of thing. But it's also, we've had a lot of people reach out to us over the years, or even like at dinners or Hyfield functions, we're like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't have time to edit. I don't have time to do all the things that's necessary. And this is a way to facilitate that without having to worry about, how much time is it going to take or what have you. You just film the content and send it out to Jerry, and Jerry whips it into shape and then puts it out. I mean, you should see the things he does for the outer belt. I think the last episode we did, I'm pretty sure you had to cut like 6 hours of content and clean it up. And it's amazing. And you've seen, Jerry's Expediter Boogie, if you don't know that, on YouTube, and he has great videos, great content. Editing and doing all that is one of his passions, and he loves it. So
it's time consuming to be out there on the road. You have to drive your 10-hour shift or 11 hours if you're driving the whole thing, and then figure out time to stop and edit. And if you're not familiar with editing, it takes time to learn.
Oh yeah,
it's frustrating. It's really not something that requires a whole lot of cash outlay to do any of this. It doesn't require any cash outlay really, because you've got your phone.
Yes,
and your phone is a great camera. Unless you have, a Memorex phone, still recording to cassette maybe, but your phone's a great camera. You can go to Walmart and pick up, like, for $10, $15, a small tripod with a phone stand on it, so you have it stable. You can prop your phone against something, so you can actually use that as a tripod, but all you need is your phone, and you can record with that, and if Jerry's going to do the editing for you, he'll make it look nice and pretty, too.
Absolutely, yeah. And when a few years ago when the pandemic hit, we started Eric and I started a YouTube channel called Patrick's Whiskey Trail. Don't look it up. There's only 2 videos. And two reasons we only did 2 videos. One was it's super easy to record it. That takes no time.
Right.
The recording part's easy. It's awkward. It is so weird the first time you do it. The first time you look into a camera and you just talk into it, knowing I don't know who's there listening, and it feels silly. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It feels silly. It's kind of like, oh, am I back in preschool and I'm pretending again? And so it is a bit odd. But once you get past that, it's super helpful. I mean, the problem I always had, the reason we cut it was 2 things. One was I ended up getting COVID and lost my sense of taste and smell.
Not good for a whiskey tasting.
It's
podcast.
really hard to have a podcast or a YouTube channel where your whole purpose is to smell and taste whiskey when you can't smell or taste.
Not good.
That's kind of
not good.
Kind of a dampener.
Yeah.
And that took me about a year to get that back. And so for a year, it wasn't even on the table. And then when I finally got those senses back, and it was like, all right, maybe we should try this again. Timing. Who has time to edit? Who has time to sit there and bang through all that? And I'm not, Jerry. I'm not proficient at that. It would take forever to get it done. The first couple episodes were edited by someone else, and then when I started looking at how to do it myself, it was daunting. And I'm like, nope, not gonna do it.
Yeah, it's like anything.
But making the content's easy.
Sure.
And the cool thing too, we've talked about with Jerry. We haven't done it yet. Is laying out some ideas for content, because I know I've heard that too from people saying, hey, we want to do a YouTube channel. We want people to see what it's like to be out here on the road. Then you get the phone, you set it on the tripod, and you're like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, your mind goes blank and you have nothing to say.
Absolutely. So we've talked about putting out ideas and saying like, hey, here's the things we're hearing that people wish they could see, right? So, and I think if you're watching this or listening, you're probably one of those people who saw us on YouTube, either through, Trucking Couple or Expediter, Lookshire Expediting Adventures, or
Expediter Boogie.
Expediter Boogie, or the Real Trucking Couple, or Trucking Travel, or Nick and Carla, or
Crafty Truckers.
I mean, so those content is Expedite Chicks. So that content was out there for you all to see. And I know for me, when I got in the business, watching YouTube channels of what's it like to, how do you get a truck stop shower?
Yeah.
How do you do laundry?
Yeah.
Like all these things that we kind of take as mundane, when you're first getting in this business, they're super scary and you don't know what to do. And just having that YouTube content out there saying, hey, here's how we do it. Here's what we do. I think it adds so much. So it can really be a great tool that you'd be helping support people in the community. So
Sure.
I
Those videos are so nice to be able to go to, and you have somebody ask a question, and you can point them to something that explains visually your answer, how the showers work. People still think that showers in truck stops are like gym showers where
everybody showers together.
Everybody showers together. It's a big community shower and just don't drop the soap kind of thing. But they're not. So being able to point somebody to something like that visually is really helpful. Really, truly is helpful.
Absolutely.
So.
I agree. So if you're interested, like Jerry said, hit him up. He is doing some wonderful things over here. We've got some great opportunities for that as well. We've only got, obviously, if he's going to do the editing, we're only going to be able to do that for a few teams. So if you are interested, please reach out to him, because at some point he's going to say, this is more than what I can handle.
I got enough content. I can't do anything more.
Absolutely.
Sure.
You can either put a comment down here on this video, send an email over to theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. I don't mind putting my email out there directly, jerry@hyfieldtrucking.com. Shoot me a message. I'll be happy to help.
Absolutely.
If I can add something we didn't talk about here, but I'm looking in the comments, and we have comments from I just lost my comments. Billy Wertzinger, who I know I've seen Billy's name on the ops board coming on to Panther here soon. And then Tino says that he and Maggie are 85% done with the application for FedEx. So even having a new team kind of document their journey, I think would be fun to put up and show what that looks like for people that are just coming on here. The stress and anxiety of it.
Absolutely.
The excitement of coming on board. What that looks like when they get into their truck and they're trying to move everything in. I don't know, just throwing out ideas. But congratulations to Tino and Billy for getting through their process.
I completely agree with you. And some of that stuff is kind of nerve-wracking. So I know when we first started driving, we drove for a fleet owner, as most people do, and we got a address, and they were like, show up here for your truck. And we're like, cool. So we showed up, and it was an address for a TA truck stop. And we called them, and we're like, hey, we're here. What do we do? And they're like, go to the service guy. He'll give you the keys. The guy handed me the keys, and that was it. Congratulations.
Good luck.
Good luck. And so that's one thing we fought really hard is like, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
We are going to make sure you're very comfortable with the vehicle before you leave. You and Melissa do a great job of walking teams through their trucks and getting them set up, and then after that, helping them out again. Jerry, one of the things Jerry's doing right now that people don't know about is he's actually videoing and creating a catalog of how-to videos. And so like how to turn your generator on, how to turn your air conditioner on. So how to get your hot water heater to work on your truck, because that's one thing. It's like we talk about these trucks with hot water. How do you get it to come on? Because it's not just always hot. You'd burn the heater up. So there's all those little things that he's actually making a catalog of videos of how-tos. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to support people and getting the perspective from the driver, which is impossible for us to get without your help, makes it so much better.
It really does. It truly does.
Yeah. And it's fun. I mean, like when you go to the trucking shows, like we just went to Matt's, and I mean, we've been doing Outer Belt for a month at that point, and just have people walk up to you randomly and just be like, hey, listen to your podcast.
That was surprising.
It was shocking.
Very
I was
surprising.
not expecting that at all. And it does make you feel good. For a minute, it's a little bit of like some endorphins fire off, and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I have been recognized at standing in line at Walmart. I've had people come up and say hey to me. So it is kind of eye-opening sometimes.
Absolutely. And then when they buy your dinner at the restaurant and all, that's kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool. I see Tino, we got that. Jerry, you're on it? Yes?
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. I do want to go back real quick and say, Maddie B, we have thunderstorms at the moment. Beautiful day yesterday. Great day forecasted for tomorrow. We will be making a pulled pork tomorrow on the Traeger for the hashtag Hyfield Family. So, I'm going to Memphis. I mean, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Dang it. I was just about to say, let's see what all right. Well, y'all have fun. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Where y'all at? Or if you don't want to say, you don't have to. But if you want to, throw it out there. Let people know where you're going to be. Because that sounds good. I've had your pulled pork off a Traeger, and it's mighty fine.
We did get a shout out too from Candy Cutchins. Hey, Hyfield family. Hey, Candy.
Hey there.
Hey, I just talked to them in person yesterday, and I can't think of his name.
Whose?
Candy's other half.
Oh, no, don't do this to me. Joe.
Joe, yes, Candy and Joe. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Joe. Wow, wow. Well, welcome to you guys. Thanks for watching. We also have on the Facebook Hyfield Trucking page, Steve Samuels.
Oh, what's up, Steve? Can I take a step real quick and say, Joe and Candy, congratulations. They are actually getting into the owner-operator program. They are buying the truck they're in right now, so they will be moving into truck ownership. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, too.
That's a huge step, and I know a lot of people, that's a goal of theirs, and we tell people all the time it's doable, and you're proof of it. So, very, very cool. Maddie B says Bordentown, New Jersey is where they're going to be out this weekend. Oh, I wish I could be out there.
Yeah, it's a good time out there, especially with the weather getting nicer again, too. Oh, it's going to be so much fun out there for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. I apologize. I am not good at reading the chats. We get mid-conversation, and then I just realize I'm like, oh, I was supposed to have read that. My bad. So if I miss your comment, I do apologize. We do have, this might be a good time to mention it, we do have Melissa and Eric over playing moderators for us. So they are, if you see someone from Hyfield Trucking or someone from Lokeshire Expediting Adventure reaching out to you, that is Melissa and Eric reaching out, saying hi. So some of the stuff they're going to intervene on and catch before we do. But we do have a couple things we're going to talk about. So we're not ignoring anyone. How do we say this?
Here's what we're going to do at this point. So what we like to do is open the show with our greetings. We watch the chat a little bit and say hello to the people that come in. For those of you that are coming in after this that aren't going to hear this, we're not going to say hello because we're just going to try and move on with the conversation. However, we do have Melissa and Eric that are watching the chat. They will feed us your questions and we will respond to them. They'll also let you know if it's a question that we can't necessarily answer right now for time constraints, but we will get back to you as well. And then we go through all the comments after the fact as well, and we will respond to those that we need to respond to. So, real quick before we turn the chat off, Patrick and I want to say to Billy, I didn't realize that Billy was coming in on Monday.
Oh, wow.
I saw his name on the list. I know somebody's coming in on Monday for a truck. The names just kind of come and go.
Yeah.
But Billy, look forward to meeting you on Monday morning. So you'll be there with me and Melissa Lee Monday morning. Tanya and Clint have been with us for 3 weeks now.
I see that.
Congratulations on your first 3 weeks, Tanya and Clint.
I saw her comment. She was saying the first week is very stressful, but the mentorship program is amazing to release some of that stress. 86 degrees in Arizona, gorgeous day.
Beautiful.
That mentor program, that's definitely part of that help, so that you're not just stranded, you're not just thrown to the wolves. You actually come out and have some support. So right there, glad to see y'all are taking advantage of that. And we try really hard. Appreciate the feedback.
We really do.
And Billy, I won't be here Monday. I'll be in Jackson, Mississippi. Otherwise, I would come out and say hi to y'all. I do try, for people that wonder, like, I've heard some people say Patrick's this godlike figure within the company, and I hate that. It kills me. But but I do, literally have been told that. And I'm like, okay. But I do try to reach out or try to get out to the truck move-ins, or when some people come to town, and sometimes at ELW or FIDA, I can intercept and go meet some people. It is my goal to do better at that this year than I have been doing. So some of you will get the opportunity to meet me. Some of you won't. I apologize. Sometimes my traveling schedule or what have you just doesn't allow for it. Sure. But it's definitely something I'm trying for. Definitely a goal of mine is to do better at that. I value people.
We're always striving to improve.
Absolutely.
Always striving to improve.
It's like we had that conversation yesterday.
It is.
Like
it kind of is like we had that.
About 6:15.
We may have. Yeah, about that. Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn my chat off.
Yep, my chat's off too.
So if you have anything to say, we're going to have a Q&A a little bit later. I think you said that already, right?
I did not say that.
Oh, you did not say that?
I did not say that.
We're going to have a Q&A a little bit later. So if you have any questions, throw them on there. Melissa and Eric are going to be intercepting those. They're going to be holding on to them so that a little bit later, when we get through some of this stuff we're obligated to talk about, we will be able to read those and answer those questions. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
The first thing we have to talk about, and we have to talk about it, we're obligated by the bylaws of the Outer Belt podcast, is that we must talk about the airplane of the week.
we have to.
And this airplane is especially special to me. Especially special. That's a word, right? Because
It's
I
actually
had
two words.
I had the phrase. There we go. Phrase. Yeah. It's especially special to me because I actually got to fly on this plane with my good friend Jerry.
Me.
So a few years ago, we had the opportunity to go down to Argentina, and we went to Brazil on a cruise. And Don and Eric and Frank and Stephanie went with us, and it was a whole lot of fun. We enjoyed it a lot. But we, before we went on our cruise, we went out to Iguazu Falls, and to get us out there, we flew on an Argentinian line, Aerolíneas Argentinas. And it was my first time ever flying a airline that wasn't like it wasn't an American type airline. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't based in the United States. They don't have a FBO or anything in the U.S. They are strictly an international, like South American company.
Okay.
And it was a very pleasant experience.
It really was.
We got to fly out of the airport, and so there's two airports in Argentina. The international one that everybody flies in on is like, I don't know, forever away from Argentina or Buenos Aires, like an hour away at least.
I have no clue.
You don't remember?
I mean, I vaguely remember. I remember the flight. I don't remember how far away that was.
So the main flight we came in, that airport's like an hour away.
Okay.
Then this airport was the one downtown that we kept hearing the planes go off all the time while we were walking
Gotcha.
around the park and everything. And so we flew from this one to Iguazu Falls. Iguazu Falls, I mean, it's literally, we were flying over trees, and then there's just a runway in the middle of nothing.
Wow.
I mean, it was like,
Here it is.
it's middle of nowhere. It's crazy. The like looking out the windows, it's like, oh, you can clearly see that's the airport because there's just this one little area. So this was a 737, very common plane. Flew it out there, had a great time in Iguazu Falls, and so that memory of riding in the airplane with Jerry and Don and everybody sticks with me. And the reason I'm bringing this up is we've been, for my birthday, I'm going to be going down to Ecuador for a couple
Nice.
days.
Cool.
And so I've been thinking about South America and getting my travel plans and everything ready. And I have to go get a couple inoculations, or is that what they call those?
I think that's what they call
Vaccines, inoculations for like
Typhoid
malaria,
fever
typhoid, and
and-
malaria, I think are the
yeah.
two that I have to get. And so to do that, I pulled out my, so when you get like a yellow fever,
those. Yeah.
you get a yellow card from the, who is it from? Like the World Health Organization. That's it.
Okay.
And so you have to have that on you to go to certain countries. So you just put all your vaccines in there. So I went and was looking through that to see what I already had and what the dates were. And it reminded me of this trip. It reminded me of this flight with Jerry, and I was like, that's going to be the one we're going to talk about. It was a wonderful trip. And the cool thing about it is, if you're curious, like, geez, I wonder a little bit about that trip, you can actually go to Jerry's YouTube channel at Expediter Boogie.
Yep, there is a video on there that I show some of the stuff that we did in Iguazu Falls, and showed the falls and the hotel and the pool that we were at, and an amazing little video.
Cool.
Yeah.
I may watch that tomorrow while it's pouring rain here.
It was a great.
It'll make you jealous. 'Cause
It will.
I'm happy to be jealous. I'd rather be jealous and outside in the rain. So
Yeah, that's true.
It'll make me want to go back.
Yes, that was amazing. It was amazing.
I didn't even know when I was looking up the whole way we found it was I was just like, okay, we got 2 days in Buenos Aires to kill, so what can we do? And everybody's on the forums were saying Iguazu Falls, and so I just looked it up, and I was like, oh, that looks neat.
yeah.
And that was the extent of it. There was no more thought than that. And then we go, and it's like, oh, this is
yeah.
not neat.
It's
this
more
is
than neat.
amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There's only one, like Niagara Falls and Victoria Falls are really the only other two that kind of compete with it. It was amazing. It was beautiful.
Cool.
So,
So what type of plane are we looking at here again?
that is a Boeing 737. It is, I don't know what variant. It's a next generation one. It's not a
Okay.
Max. It was fine. It was weird. This flight, I don't know if you remember, Jerry, it has a first class section. Nobody was in it.
Really? How long was the flight to Iguazu Falls?
Hour and a half or so? I
Okay.
think it was about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was a little longer, a little further than an hour. They had screens, but the screens were like the size of an iPhone. They were tiny
Yeah.
little bitty things. I've never seen that in an airplane before. And there's no, I don't think there's any content on them either. I think it was just the map was the only thing you could do
Okay.
on it. But yeah, they had that big first class area and nobody sat in it. I was like, most of American airlines will bring upgrade people
Sure.
and congratulations, you get a free
You get
upgrade or
upgrade,
whatever.
yeah.
Nobody.
We didn't load the meals on this plane for first class, but you get a bigger seat.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing with these guys. But it was safe. The Aerolíneas Argentinas actually is one of the safest record airlines, so I felt really
Good
good
to
about
know.
that. And they're part of Sky Team, so I get my Delta points because of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did I.
Nice.
Yep. Very,
Awesome.
very, very, very cool trip. I enjoyed it a lot.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So one thing I've been hearing a lot about, I actually talked to a team last night about, Patrick, and this has been a constant conversation with us, is freight volumes. We're hearing how slow it is out there for everybody. Panther is getting stingy with bonuses.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what freight looks like currently out there?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
It
I wish we
is.
would have prepared. Oh, we prepared. Yes, it comes up with me frequently as well. I see it. I've had people reach out to me directly. I've had people reach out to their mentors, and the mentors reach out to me, reach out to Kelly, reach out to Kayla. It is a very common point of conversation. And so when I look at the freight environment, I have the pleasure of looking at multiple carriers. Plus, I look at what news journals and large banks are saying. So most people don't realize transportation is one of the industries that's so big, your major banks actually track it and follow it.
Sure.
It's not just like
When you say they track it and follow it, what are they tracking? What are they following?
so they're tracking number of shipments refused, the literal cost per mile of the freight, how far the freight lanes are going, Class 8 truck sales. So, like how many tractors are actually being sold.
ordered and sold.
Correct.
Right.
And they monitor all that to get a feel for what is the overall economy doing.
Right.
So not just trucking, but everything.
Everything.
And because there's so many billions and billions of dollars in trucking segment, and they track it with trucking, and they also track air freight, and they also track shipping and trains. So like that's kind of our segment, transportation in general, right?
Right. So trucking is one of the indicators of the overall market's health.
Correct. And it's very interesting to see too how they all play with each other, right? And how they all work together, all the different modes of transportation.
Right.
So
Got it.
that's why they track it. So they're tracking both on an economy scale of what's the overall economy of the country doing, plus also trucking specifically for the trucking lending for oil purchases,
Sure.
for all that stuff. It all tracks, right? Because as soon as trucking is down and there's not a lot of freight, then the price of oil could potentially drop because there's not as many trucks buying diesel. You see, so it all kind of tiers together. But why would transportation be down in the first place? So we got to look at that. So now, right now, the biggest overarching is retail spending is rock bottom.
Down. Yeah. Way down.
It's way down. So with people not buying as much, especially coming off of people buying so much, there's so much inventory out in the world
Right.
that there's not a lot of shipping occurring because of it. Boy,
So-
that was a very complicated way to say it.
So basically what happened was when we we're dealing with the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
And people were home. They were buying a lot more than they normally would, whether it was just frivolous, I'm bored, I'm going to buy something,
Yes.
or they were buying equipment for home offices or homeschooling or
Yes.
other things. And then when people start going back to work and going back to school, inventories were so high because people were buying all this stuff, and now they stopped buying it. And retailers and manufacturers had ramped up their volumes. We were left with some glut in the market. We dealt with that a lot before Christmas last year, where Walmart and Target were talking about how their inventories were so high they had
Correct.
to cut back on different lines and things. So a lot of it had to do with just we have too much stuff. People are no longer buying, and we're not going to keep producing at the same volume. We're going to reduce that inventory that we have, and try and be a little more lean in how many items we carry in our warehouse.
Correct. So, yes, there's a little bit more to it as well. So typically, like the one reason retailers want to do business in America. So if you ever watch Shark Tank and you see they're like talking about where do you sell your product, and that they want to make sure it's sold in America. Even like when you look at countries like out in Europe, they want to make sure their product is American certified or American safe and get it
Sure.
approved so they can sell in America, because our economy is so good. Because in general, as an American population, we like spending money.
Right.
So if we are getting money, we like spending it. So during COVID, we were not able to go out and travel and do things we wanted to do. We weren't buying airplane tickets.
Right.
We weren't buying hotel stays. People were generally staying home. Even if they didn't want to, there wasn't a whole lot of options. Unless you had an RV or a camper, there's a lot of places you couldn't go.
Sure.
I know in the middle of that, early on, we were moving my father up from Louisiana up to Ohio, and there was one stretch he had to do. He had to drive further than he wanted to get back to Ohio, because the state he was in, he couldn't get a hotel room.
Wow.
Even though he was moving, not travel,
Right.
moving. It wasn't essential.
Yeah.
So it when that happened, people went, okay, well, how can we spend money? And now we've got all this additional money we would normally spend on a trip. What can we do with it? So you see things like crypto goes to the roof, right? Like
Sure.
stock markets, Robinhood gets on there and they start playing with the economy like it's gambling. You also see people start buying stuff. They buy it from Amazon. Walmart.com rolls out their delivery program. And so all of a sudden, people are buying. And if you remember, we get to a point where they bought out everything. And now we're trying to buy stuff. And so for the past 2 years, we've been trying to stock not only what we normally should have, but extra, because people are buying more. Well, now that the economy's taken off, really in 2022, we're going to talk about, the economy took off. You're no longer trapped in your house. You can now go travel the world, right? The air travel has gone through the roof. And it has created a situation where people aren't buying anymore. Because now, instead of buying that new laptop,
Right.
I'd rather go to Jamaica. And yeah.
Iguazu Falls.
Exactly. Right. So, and the rest of the world is opening up. It's not just they have the ability to do it, or they have the desire to do it. It's just it's also they have the ability to, because these other countries have been off limits and now they're not. And so with that, you see the economy starts to spiral out of control. And so that's why this year, so last year we started seeing a slowdown,
right?
Because people aren't buying,
right?
And then this year you see the Fed is jacking interest rates up like left and right, trying to reduce
that buying.
That not only the buying but the inflation.
Sure.
And so now the buying really comes to a stop. Now people really start to back off what they're spending, and even companies and industries start backing off what they're spending, right? So when you have all of that, trucking just naturally is going to settle in that groove, and they're going to kind of fall to it.
Right.
Now, so what we have right now is we have a whole bunch of inventory in warehouses all across America that we don't need. So instead of making a whole bunch more stuff and having it shipped over from China or wherever, they're just holding tight, and they are not buying anything. They're letting those levels just naturally come down. So not having a fire sale, not getting rid of a bunch of stuff. They're just letting those inventory levels come down. And once they get down to a point where they're comfortable, they'll start reordering. And so you see it with air cargo is horrible right now. If you've seen anything in the news, FedEx is pulling all their divisions together because
seen that.
FedEx Express, which is always such a great company, has gone down so much in revenue. And then you also have like Atlas Air and all those other companies. Atlas Air just went private because the freight demands dropped so much they were able to their stock price dropped to a point where they could actually be bought.
Wow.
And then and then when it comes to shipping companies, you have major freighters actually just sitting off the coast in China, not coming over here because they're not ordering enough stuff to run as many freighters as they have. So it's a weird situation. And the thing that I think most people think is this is a recession. Oh dear, what's happening? Because we're going into a recession. The economy's collapsing. What are we going to do? That's not the case. All we're in is a leveling field. It is a normal freight cycle where we have too much inventory, so they stop buying inventory, they let it bleed off, and they pick it right back up. A recession is more like when the economy stops.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we have a situation where people are laid off, they don't have jobs, they are unable to make ends meet, and then you have the trickle effect of that. It's a very different thing than kind of what we're going through right now.
But on its face, to a lot of people, though, when you're hearing about layoffs and these types of things, it looks the same, but you have to dig deeper to see the actual root cause of what's going on. It sounds like you're saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we look at, that's where I get to the data of like, all right, what are we looking at?
Sure.
So when you look at let me find it. Oh, it's got to reload a page. The Contract Load Acceptance Volume Index. So what that is when you have a contract to carry freight. So like we've made a deal with Walmart.
Right.
We're going to carry your freight. Here's how much it's going to pay. The acceptance volume is how much of it that Walmart calls you and says, take this load, and you agree to take it, versus how much you reject it. So that there's a projection that says like so many loads you have to not take because you're so busy you can't take them.
You can't get it.
So right now, the contract load acceptance volume is indicating that there is 25% too much capacity in the market. So in other words, of all the trucks on the planet right now, or in America, there's 25% too many.
So to simplify that a little bit, if Walmart needed 100 loads delivered,
yes,
they got 125 trucks available to deliver
right.
that load. So we have a saturation or oversaturation of trucks in the market.
So that's a really simplistic way of looking at it, but
that's how I want to lay it out there. So because saying there's 25% above what's needed is a little different number. When you lay it out in hard numbers, I think it makes a little more sense.
Yes. Well, but here's the difference. So that is implying 25% of those trucks aren't running, right? Because there's only 100 loads, 25 trucks are not. That's actually not what we have here. So what we actually have is for trucking, we want to see something like 85 trucks for that 100 loads.
Right.
So we want less trucks than there are loads. Right now, there are less trucks than there are loads, but not by much. So the 25% is actually the ideal percentage for the amount of freight. It's not necessarily the loads for the amount of freight. Does that make sense?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so to get us to the ideal, 25% of those trucks need to go away.
Okay.
But
I see what you're
that's
saying.
not to get us to a 1-to-1.
Sure. So we're not looking at literally. Ideally, we want to have less trucks than loads.
Correct.
That 25% that we're talking about, and
is
not
to the
25
ideal.
trucks, is to get us down to that ideal of
Correct.
85 trucks roughly.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So right now there is still the rejection tender is like 3.5% or something like that, which means of every 100 loads, 3.5 of those loads are being rejected
By the contractor.
by the contractor. So Walmart has 97 trucks for their 100 truckloads.
Right.
So
so then that 3.5% then goes out to the spot market, or it is picked up
exactly
or
what happens.
is put out somewhere else.
Correct.
As opposed to
It's spot market. It's exactly right.
So if Walmart has a contract with XYZ Trucking to run X amount to run all their freight.
Yes.
And XYZ Trucking can refuse certain loads, so they don't have the capacity to run those loads for whatever reason. Then Walmart takes those other 3 loads and puts them on the spot market for anyone to pick up and run.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so realistically, they want to see that number above 6%. And then when we're in that, it's been for the past couple of years around that 15-20% mark.
Right.
So that's how they got that number of 25% too many. So it's not that there's... So the closer we get to 1-to-1, the worse off it gets.
Sure.
Now, most everybody... Morgan Stanley put out a poll. Again, they're one of the big banks that really tracks this, and they said that of all the shippers they surveyed, so these are people that ship freight all over the country.
Right.
75% are expecting those inventory levels to normalize. Half of them are saying it's going to happen the second half of the year. The other half saying first half. We already know it's not going to happen in the first quarter.
So we're in that the first quarter is done.
Correct. So what this means is that we're at the bottom. That's what that's the uniform agreement, is we're at the bottom. So the question is, when do we get out of the bottom?
Sure.
So right now we are at as slow as it's going to get. It's only going to go up from here. We just don't know, is going up from here going to be this month, May, or August? That's the question. And nobody's got that answer. The only way we're going to have that answer is in hindsight, right? So that's why the rejection, or that's why all this is being tracked. So what that means is if you're driving a truck and you're making good money right now, then you're pretty much there. Like
Sure.
this is as quote unquote bad as it's going to get this go around. And in a recession, we would see that keep sliding.
Keep going down.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's not where we're at right now. I forget, Jerry, were you around for 2008?
I was.
That was a recession.
That was a recession.
Describe that for a second.
So you go from, in my personal experience, driving for FedEx Custom Critical, where every load was $3 and up per mile. All of a sudden, everything tanks, and we're lucky to get 90 cents a mile, 95 cents a mile.
Wow.
Everything was right around that $1 per mile mark.
Yep.
Freight was not moving very, very slowly, and it was like pulling teeth to get any type of compensation from the carrier.
Yeah. That's recession.
Sure.
So when people say that, like, oh my gosh, we're in this freight recession, things are so bad, we're not. We're in a market readjustment. We got to bleed off our excess inventory, and then we'll start moving freight again across the country. So I think that's when I hear people really concerned about that. I get it, because the past 2 years have been amazing for freight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just get a truck and hook up to anything, and you're making bank.
Right.
Now we're in a normal period. In the U.S., we see these ebbs and flows happen on a normal. If you take COVID out of the picture, over the last decade, you see these ebbs and flows of freight gets busy, it slows down, we got to bleed inventory off. It gets busy, we got to bleed inventory off, whatever. And that's what we're in. And so when people are concerned, it's a legit reason to be concerned, but that's when you stay disciplined. I like to say right now, this is when specialized freight really shines. So if you're hauling pharmaceuticals like they do at Custom Critical, or if you're hauling DOD, or if you're doing some kind of specialized, expediting is specialized services, or working for a carrier, or leased onto a carrier, just any carrier, they have contract freight. They have the ability to run and keep the vehicles moving.
Sure.
Because there is such a low rejection, they have no reason to pay extra.
Right.
So that's why a lot of people talking about bonuses and negotiating power, that's kind of off the table right now.
Yeah.
So staying in freight lanes, making sure you're running where the freight is becomes more paramount, but it is definitely not, we're definitely not talking recession. We're not anywhere remotely close to that.
Sure.
And all the indicators show it's only up from here.
We're hitting that bottom or starting to turn back up.
Exactly.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think that's kind of that was a rough explanation of kind of where I see the economy at right now, where I see trucking at right now. And again, this is not just shooting from my hip. This is hours of research.
Sure.
Constantly checking on things, seeing where we sit, and knowing, like, they're even calling for, if it's going to go any further down, it would be a 1% drop, which is nothing. It's very, very minor. But it's not even, most people don't even think that's going to happen. So it is definitely a concern because it feels different, but I think it's one that is going to be fine.
Right. I think I know you clarified it for me. That 25% number, I understood completely different than what you said, and so I think that clarified it for me. I'm hoping that it clarified it for our viewers as well and our listeners also. If it didn't, if you have further questions, ask them. We're not going to go into a big, long explanation here. More probably, if we can answer them quickly, we'll answer them for you quickly. But if it's a longer answer, maybe we can hit it on a future episode.
Yes.
And kind of get a little more in depth in that, so we're not going for hours and hours here today. But I think now is.
Well, and I do think, going forward over the next few months, we're going to track this. So we are.
Oh yeah.
It maybe once a month or so we'll have an episode where we'll talk about it. If I see anything in the market change, because you probably want to know too when the freight starts going up.
This is our business. We're following this stuff all the time, and then if it picks up crazy again, I might jump back in a truck and go run a truck.
That's not going to happen for you.
I know,
but okay.
I know.
All right. Well, we do have that question and answer time. We do want to have a chat.
Yeah. So shoot your questions across whatever platform you're on. Shoot them across, and we'll make sure we try and address those for you. So our first one comes from YouTube. Steve Smallwood. The mentor program is one of the main reasons we have chosen to work with Hyfield. We are working now on our CDL with endorsements. Does Hyfield have a program for drivers to become owner-operators?
We sure do. We have a couple options. One of them, the primary one that most people use, is the lease purchase program. And we're happy to have that conversation with you one-on-one. Sure. With the lease purchase program, 90% of our decisions is based on your how you run your truck.
Your productivity.
So I always tell people, when you're interested in buying your own truck, let us know, and then perform as best you can in the truck you're in now. So reach out to your mentors. How do we get better? We've actually had this happen quite a few times where we've had a team that says, hey, we want to buy our own truck. I tell them, all right, here's what we got to do. Here's a conversation we're going to have. And then they reach out to their mentor and say, hey, we want to buy our own truck, and we know we need to do these things, so help us get to that point, right? Because that productivity matters more than anything else does. And then we set you up on a lease purchase, and it's a really good one. The nice thing about us is we're not a carrier, so we don't control your freight.
You do. Your carrier does, but you still run your business the same way as an owner-operator as you did as a contractor for Hyfield Trucking.
Exactly. So a lot of lease purchase programs that are out there on the market right now are brought to you from the carrier.
Right.
And carriers get a little weird, and we're going to talk about this with our business models.
Sure.
Where they will throttle your freight if they see you're making too much money or whatever. And so that gets a little tricky. But with a lease purchase program like through us, it's essentially like buying a truck from Freightliner and getting your own financing, and you don't look any different to the carrier than any other person does. And so there is none of that throttling. So and it's great. And the companies we work for, the carriers we work for, they don't do that. If they did, that'd be it. We'd find new companies to work with.
Hopefully that answers your question, Steve. If you have other questions about that, please let us know, certainly. Here's a good one. I knew it was going to come up. Dana, our buddy Dana Lord, wants to know when the next video for Patrick Lee's Whiskey Trail is coming out. It's been 2 years, he says. Come on, Patrick. You stopped drinking whiskey?
I did not.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It is.
We have some things in the mix that we are working on, and we'll see what happens. It probably won't be Patrick's Whiskey Trail, but we got some things. We got some ideas.
We got to mix it up a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So Dana, hang tight for us. Maybe there'll be an announcement in the next year. Who knows?
Next year, yeah.
Who knows?
We got to remember, Patrick's Whiskey Trail is not necessarily good for the liver. So, sorry.
We're good at making our own laugh tracks, aren't we?
We are. Janet Ingram says, Jerry's Thermo King videos were so helpful. I agree. They were really, really good. So we first started out with our business, we had all carriers, and when we switched over to Thermo King, I cheated as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's super helpful having those videos. And Jerry's really good at it. I mean, just see his video where he did the side-by-side tour.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a testament to his...
Great tour.
Great tour, yeah.
Great tour.
I thought it was funny, too. You see a couple of those comments were like, that's such a waste of space. I don't understand, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, it's 120 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, how much space do you need? It's huge. Like, and
It's a big sleeper.
And it's probably the most requested truck we have right
truly
now.
is.
Everybody's
Truly
asking
is.
for them.
We're turning side by side so fast right now. I mean, we had one come back last Friday.
Yeah.
It's leaving with Billy on Monday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it came back on Friday the 4th of April. I forget what day it was. So not just yesterday.
Yeah.
So a week ago yesterday it came back, and Melissa got it flipped, and it's going out with Billy on Monday. And we didn't cut any corners. This is not, let's get this out real fast. We're gonna cut. No. This truck did not have any corners cut. It spent 3 days over the OW having repairs taken care of and some maintenance done. It came back to the yard. Melissa spent time taking care of it, and we got it out in time for Billy to show up for it Monday. So had the truck not been ready for Billy by Monday, Billy wouldn't be getting in the truck Monday.
Yeah.
So again, no corners were cut. But that's how much people want these side by sides. Yeah. We're getting a lot more non-same household teams. By non-same household, we're talking about friends, father, daughter, mother, son, mother, daughter. People that don't want to sleep in the same bed, father, son. People that want to sleep in the same bed necessarily want their own space. Well, so people we're getting a lot of those types of teams.
Absolutely, and a lot of people don't know too. If you've never driven before, a lot of people think, well, what with the bunk beds in the back, you got a bottom bunk and a top bunk. What difference does it make? You got two beds. Well, there's a huge comfort level difference between the two. Yeah. The top one has a little 4-inch piece of
tiny
foam.
Little mattress.
The bottom one has an 8-inch inner sprung pillow top mattress, and the sizes are a little different. But also beyond that, the upper bunk on these trucks are not to be used going down the road.
They are not.
You are supposed to stay in the. So even if you you have the top bunk. When the truck's moving, you still got to sleep in the bottom bunk. So the side-by-sides have really become quite popular, and I think a lot of that is to do with you putting that video out, and I think we've had a couple other videos out there, and Delina's made some posting showing it off or what have you. It's a really cool design.
It really is.
I'd love to take credit for it, and I can't. It was done by someone else, and we just embraced it. And
it's worked for us.
Absolutely. I really like it. I always call it the dorm room. It's a side-by-side, but I always call it the dorm room. It kind of reminds me of the dorm room.
I wish I would have had that whenever I drove with my mother.
Right?
I bet.
Yeah. We have some same household teams, too, that want him. It's just, right now, we're not really able to because
we have the non-same household.
We have the non-same household that's demanding it, but it's it's super popular. I'm going to be placing a pretty good-sized truck order here in a couple months, and when I do, that's going to be a large section of them. So.
And we still have non-same household teams going into those bunk trucks. They use the bottom bunk when they're running down the road.
Yep.
You throw a sleeping bag on top of the mattress and do your thing. And then when they're stopped, I guess they Rochambeau for who gets the top bunk when they're stopped. I don't know. Maybe they trade off. I don't know, but it can be done.
Yeah,
it's just not as convenient as it is in a side by side.
Well, and we even have teams that prefer it. There are some people who have been out here and they think that's better. Yeah. You do get a little bit larger kitchen space.
You do a little bit,
and so there's a lot of people that actually do like that. So it's finding the right sleeper for what works for you. It's a great thing about having a mixed fleet is that we have a truck solution that will. And we've had people get them and not like them and change to different trucks. Yeah. Like that's an option as well. So it's really cool to be able to have that. I saw David Spires got in business. Who's business drivers? Hi, I don't know who that is. If you're still here,
are you back on the video?
Yeah, I am. If you're still on the video or with us, shoot us over who you are. I apologize if I should know you and I don't. So I know we're going to just about wrap it up. We've already exceeded we're heading our hour right now. You were saying? I'm sorry.
I was going to ask it if business drivers is Donna Sleesman.
Is it? Yes, it is, based on that last sentence.
Yeah.
Yes, it is 100%.
Yeah.
Hi, Donna.
Some of us know who you are, Donna.
I don't. She's one of my best friends, and I don't know.
Right.
You
don't know her YouTube handle?
I don't.
When you interview people to be your friends, do you not ask them their YouTube handle?
I don't. It's not. It's not part of the. It's not part of the resume that I require people
be.
fill out.
From now on, it should be.
Yeah, it should be.
Eric, can you update that, please, on Patrick's resume request?
On my friend resume
we need
request.
YouTube handles. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's hysterical. A couple things coming up. We have Expedite Expo. We wanted to let everybody know about. That is July the 21st through the 22nd, 2023. We're going to be out in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the
Allen County War Memorial Coliseum.
Yes. We're going to be out there. We're going to have a booth in the what's that area called?
On the show floor.
On the show floor, thank you. And we just want to encourage everybody to come out, and it's a really cool time to hang out, get to know our industry better, get to know us a little better. The carriers are going to be out there as well, so if you're on the fence about which carrier you want to work with, they're going to be out there to talk questions.
Good breakout sessions as well.
Great breakout sessions. We've got our friends
Millennials in Trucking.
Millennials in Trucking are going to be doing a breakout session. There's several others that we know that are going to be doing them. It's a great opportunity to just educate yourself more on the business, both on the driver side, also the maintenance side, also the business side.
Yes,
so, like, we talk about trends in trucking and how trucking has too many trucks and what's happening.
Oh, they go deep dive into that stuff.
They go deep dive into all that, so you can really learn more about the industry. One thing I forgot to mention too with the overinflation are too many trucks. For the first time in February, for the first time in the past 3 years, there are more trucks leaving the industry than there are coming in.
Wow.
So a truck can leave an industry through getting wrecked, through being repossessed in some cases, sadly. Trucking companies going out of business.
Right.
It can also be people retiring. A lot of people are retiring as well because trucking is an older crowd a lot of times. And so that overinflation is coming down. So what we had, remember I said the loads are going to be coming back when the inventories normalize? Yeah. We're also seeing the truck counts come down. So when you have the truck counts start to work their way down and then the inventory levels work their way up, now you get in a situation where we're back to making a little more per load and all that good stuff.
Capacity is not quite as high as it is currently.
It's two factors fighting in on it.
Right.
Anyways, sorry about that. So breakout sessions. We're going to be sponsoring the casino night and the after party on Friday night. Yeah. And we're going to do a parking lot party if the weather holds up. It's Fort Wayne, Indiana in the summer is anybody's guess as to whether it's going to rain. We've been out there throwing down and then had to scurry away because it started raining. Yeah. We've had horrible weather all day, just knowing we're not going to be able to do our parking lot party. And then at 5 p.m., it just turns beautiful, and we just bring everything out. It's completely weather dependent, and we just want y'all to come out and hang out. It is awesome. And Donna also pointed out, I like her comment, unable to source units too. You really can't. You can't buy trucks. That's the other thing is even if you wanted to buy a truck, there's none out there. A lot of you who have talked to some of these people selling trucks, you talk to them and say, yeah, we'll get you a truck in 2 years. That shocked me when we were at Matt's, the ARI booth. If you want to buy a truck, they're booking for 2025, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Way out.
So,
yeah.
Thank you, Donna. That's a great point. So, the other thing is Hyfield at Sea. So if you are part of Hyfield Family, you're going to be part of Hyfield Family, you want to be part of Hyfield Family, we are going to Cape Canaveral on December 30th through January 7th, and we're going to be riding taking a cruise on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship. and we are going to be having a great time. It is a cruise that we've been requested for years. People have been asking us, please take this cruise. Please make this happen. We're finally making it happen. I'm excited. We are all of our rooms that we had are all gone.
Our block is gone.
Our block is gone. So now you have to book directly with the cruise line or through a travel agent. But we are there's still room on the ship. It's just our blocks are gone.
Right.
So come out and see us. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, the price is kind of high, watch that price. It is up and down on a daily basis. It is crazy. Like literally every day, just kind of log on to Royal Caribbean's website and see what it is. They will actually, if you just like leave it up on your computer, every day they'll leave that cruise. Like the website's smart enough to know this is the cruise you were looking at,
right?
And they will hold it so that you can constantly go back and see it and check the pricing out. And it's been everything from like $1,500 a person up to like $3,000 a person, $4,000 a person. So it's varying a lot.
I want to say I got an email today or yesterday. I don't know when it came in. I saw it this morning on discounted rates for excursions, the specialty dining, a couple other things. So you watch for those things also, because they're always discounting those things as well up until a couple weeks before you leave sometimes.
Absolutely. And don't feel like if you book a cruise and that you have to get an excursion for everything and you have to buy the unlimited fancy dining packages and all that. I am not buying the dining package. The ship feeds you. There's like
and they feed you good food.
They feed you good food.
It's part of the price.
Yes, and it's not buffet. It's actually a nice sit-down restaurant with white tablecloths and all that stuff. They have the buffet you can go to. They have a few other free restaurants around there.
Right.
So you don't have a need to buy that. If you want, you can,
really
but I'm not doing it.
Now, I got to say, if you have a special occasion going on during that week, like my birthday will be that week. So if you guys want to throw me a birthday party in one of the specialty restaurants, I'm all in. I am all in. That being said,
we'll see what day that lines up on.
Yeah.
But no, it is a good time. Looking forward to it. Donna says, I'll look for my tickets in the mail, right? As soon as you pay for them, yes. David Spires just sent out a big thank you. He's in our owner-operator program. They are great team. They've been excellent team. Oh, that's right. You were yours, weren't they?
Yes, I was.
They've got me all jealous. They've been posting pictures of their family out in Japan right now, and
cool.
all over Facebook. And I'm like, I don't want.
His daughter went over there. She's a teacher. I got because I was talking to David and Julie, his wife, and talking about how me and Don want to go to Japan and everything. And she went over there once before, I believe. And she fell in love with the country, and then she became a teacher, and now she's back over there teaching.
That's awesome.
And I forgive me, David, I don't remember what she's teaching, but that's amazing. I remember him telling me all about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, the pictures have got my jealous bone like kicking in full gear right now.
Yeah.
It looks pretty. But so if you're interested in going to Hyfield at Sea, let's do it. Let's make it happen. If you end up booking that flight, if you end up booking that cruise, let us know. We actually have a private Facebook group for everybody going. That way you can jump on and start kind of mingling with who else is going to be there, making plans, that kind of thing.
If you're a first-time cruiser, you can ask lots of questions there. If you're an experienced cruiser, you can share your experience with those first-timers up there. So
there's a lot of people that are asking about how do you get to and from the ship, because it's about an hour drive from the airport, and are you flying in the same day? Are you staying in a hotel? All that good stuff. So they have a lot of really good information on those. I would definitely check it out. I did see Melissa just sent over something. Big Getty Trucker, how much experience do you look for? None.
Zero.
If depending, if you want to drive a straight truck, which is what we primarily run,
both FedEx and Panther require
no experience.
Class B license.
Yes.
Hazmat tanker endorsement.
Correct. They don't require hazmat and tanker. We strongly encourage it.
We strongly encourage hazmat and tanker.
But it's not required.
And Hyfield also requires you to come with your own partner. We don't run solos. We don't play matchmaker. We only contract with established teams.
Correct.
So.
Yep. And we don't, we've had some people go out and, find a person to drive with, and that works out nice. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But it is definitely something we don't affiliate ourselves with.
Yeah, we don't do matchmaking.
And the reason is we're just not good at it.
No.
Every
Well,
time we set a team up,
it fails.
it fails.
Yeah.
So that's nothing to do with y'all. It's not our skill set.
One thing we did mention on Hyfield at Sea that we should probably throw out there, it is December 30th, 2023 through
Yes.
January 7th, 2024.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So
Yep. It's gonna be a wonderful
It's going to be
time.
a good time.
Yep.
Going to be a good time.
Jerry, is there anything we missed?
Make sure you give this a big old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, or hit that follow button over on Facebook. And share this. Share this with a friend.
Let me ask you a question, Jerry. If someone wants to get in touch with us and contract with us, how do they do that?
That is a very good question. And I think what they need to do is send an email over to us. And that email is going to be theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can also reach us through the Hyfield Trucking YouTube page, or the Hyfield Trucking or the Outer Belt Podcast Facebook pages, or the _Outer Belt Podcast on Instagram.
Nice.
There are 1,000 ways to reach us.
There are 1,000 ways to reach us. We just got to make sure people know that there are 1,000 ways to
Is there a
reach us,
website they could use?
There is a website as well, www.hyfieldtrucking.com. You can go on there, find out a lot of information about Hyfield, the mentor program. Their website was recently revamped, and there's a lot of great information on there. And there's even a live chat function Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 where you can chat with me personally, and I can help answer your questions.
Awesome.
One quick question. Big Daddy Trucker Sean asked again, what is your average time out?
So the majority of our teams stay out 6 to 8 weeks at a time. That, again, is part of why we have such nice trucks, is so that you can stay
Live
out
in your
and be
truck.
more comfortable. However, the bare minimum to get your part of your mileage paid to get back home is 3 weeks, so 21 days.
21 days.
So if you're out for 21 days, the company will pay up to 300 miles of fuel to get you back home. And so that's kind of the minimum is that most people do. I mean, if you have to go home sooner than that, we understand life happens. We're not going to tell you not to.
Right.
It's just that you may have to pay for your own fuel to get home. I mean, it is literally just the fuel price. There's no markup or anything on it. And then, but the average team does stay out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
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 It's very rare to find a team that goes home once a month. It does happen, but
Sure.
it's not common.
They're usually in the freight lanes where they can get home pretty easy. You get into a groove when you're out there too, and once you're in that groove, you can keep running.
Absolutely.
When you go home for a few days, you get back out, and you're trying to get your sleep habits back in line of where they need to be for being on the truck.
Yeah.
It's hard to get back in that groove and find that rhythm to where you're making money. So
Absolutely.
it's difficult. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. As far as our contact, that's Eastern time.
Yes.
That question was asked by Derek. So, yeah. I'm sorry. It was asked by Melissa sitting behind me. She asked that question. So,
That's fine.
8 to 5 Monday through Friday is our contact time on the Hyfield Trucking website. The other avenues, whenever you like, we'll get to them as soon as we possibly can.
There's also a phone number on the website. There's a way to set up a call if it's not a good time or you want to have a call later. We can also get that set up.
Sure.
You can actually schedule that so you know exactly when that's going to be. Lots of options. We try to make it as easy as possible to work with us.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you all for joining us and hanging out with us. And I hope you like the new design. We're trying to be a little more conversational.
We are.
We're trying to critique and make this as best we possibly can. In the meantime, everybody out there on the road, stay safe and make some good decisions.
We do this show for you guys, so we want your feedback. We want to know.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We want to know how we can improve, what you want to hear, what's we're doing good, what we're doing bad, so we can make changes. So that being said, don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night, everybody.